Jamal. Joining me this evening on the show is Mr. Jayanta Karunaratne, Chairman of the Colombo Tea Traders Association, to talk about the impact of COVID-19 to the $1.5 billion tea industry in Sri Lanka. Stay connected, stay with News First. We will join you right now. Mr. Karunaratne, after 20 years of discussions, many committees being appointed, for the first time in its 150-year history for the tea industry in the country, finally the Colombo Tea Auction went on an e-platform today thanks to COVID-19. Now this is a big victory for the industry, isn't it?
Yes, definitely this is a big victory because, we could not have auctions for 2 weeks. And, we were looking for an option, how to start the auction, because the producers need to be paid before the new year. And, there are a lot of people who have worked and, they are all waiting for their wages before the new year. So then we requested the Colombo Brokers Association to come forward with a solution. So they came with the e-platform. So now this is the start of the e-platform for the tea auctioning.
Now, Mr. Karunaratne, despite exports have been made an essential service, including the packaging of tea, many tea exporters find it difficult to obtain curfew passes. It seems that the government mechanism here has completely collapsed. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. It has become extremely difficult for the exporters to operate under these trying times. What is the reason behind this?
No, it's a big problem. Actually everybody is want to look after the producer, the tea plucker, the tea factory owner, to bring the goods to Colombo and auction it. So, that's the beginning of the value chain, unless we process, pack and ship. So, we will not get the money. So the exporters cannot continue to buy tea. So this was explained today also at the to the regulators, that if we don't look at the exporter side, this cannot go on for a longer period. So with the current curfew, it's very, very extremely difficult for us to work. Maybe if you look at most of the exporters are working with about 20% capacity. So that is not enough. Their teas are blocked. They can't pack, they can't process, they can't export. So we have addressed it. The reason could be, I think, we have taken up with the government and we told this: if we want to go forward in this industry, we need to sort out these issues of getting required curfew passes, required passes for the vehicles, and for the certifying the factories, and also to open up certain government factories who give us support services.
Mr. Karunaratne, one of the biggest problems is the fact that the supply chain has completely collapsed. Those who provide packaging material, those who provide inner cartons, those who provide filter paper, and this is a time that Sri Lanka is looking at moving to the value-added arena. And do you think that such constraints are going to affect the tea industry as a whole in the long run?
Definitely. In the short run, we are experiencing a lot. Sometimes we have the tea, we have no required packing materials. So some people, you cannot wait, then you inform the buyer, you cannot ship the goods. If we don't support the supply chain, the suppliers of packing materials and other support services, we cannot move on. We have taken it up with at various levels, but still we have not seen a proper solution to it, because what they say is because of number of people working together. But what we have proposed them is to PHI to come to these factories to certify that the factories are up to the standards given by the government or health authorities. If they can keep up to that standard, to allow them to work with keeping the distance, with complying all other health requirements, so they can work.
The depreciation of the rupee against the US dollar, now many might think, Mr. Karunaratne, the exporters are making money in a situation of this sort, but that is not the case. How do you think the government should step in to boost the country's economy as well as strengthening the rupee, which is depreciating rapidly against the US dollar?
The number one is, some people think the exporters make money out of it. No, it's not so. Most of the countries we supply our teas, also their currencies have come down. Russia, if you take Russia, their ruble is depreciated more than 20% during the last 1 month with the lowering of oil prices. And Turkey has a problem. Many countries have depreciated, so they all want us to discount our prices. So we don't make money. And also we borrow, most of the exporters borrow dollars. So when you pay back in dollars, so actually there is no gain for us. And if you are,
there's in fact a big loss.
It's a big loss sometimes because your borrowings are more and your proceeds, liabilities are less. If your liabilities are more and if your assets are less, you have to adjust your accounts monthly, then you lose further. So it's not not something the exporters make money.
Mr. Karunaratne, the government seems to be giving stepmotherly treatment on an industry that produces and brings in 1.5 billion US dollars, generates over 600,000 employment opportunities directly as far as the country's employment is concerned. But there's stepmotherly treatment meted out against the tea industry at present. What is the reason behind this? Because more focus is on the apparel sector as well as tourism, and the tea industry has been thrown to the bin at present.
No, actually, now you said 600,000 is not correct. If direct and indirect, it's about 2 million people.
Absolutely.
That's about 10% of Sri Lanka population. So this 10% of Sri Lanka population depend on this industry. So with regard to stepmotherly treatments, it is one way it's correct because most of the regulators, they look at the producer side, the people who work for the factories, people who pluck tea and that level. But sometimes they don't understand the bringing tea to the auction is not the end. Most of the people are very concerned about the auction. So auction was held today. So, but then what's next? The exporters have to buy, they have to process, and they have to ship.
Do you think, Mr. Karunaratne, that the government should provide a stimulus package to the tea industry right now? Because right now, if you look at all the industries in Sri Lanka, which brings in foreign currency, the tea industry has only stepped up to its role. So do you think that the government should provide a stimulus package to the tea industry in the short term?
Actually, on the current situation, only tea industry stood up and we said we can work. We are, the entire industry, all levels, people are working. We are all struggling to continue and we don't want to break this, our supply to the world. So we are continuing. Actually, as a whole, we have not asked for any dole-outs or any grants from the government. Only thing is the exporters asked for to extend the packing credit loan by about 2 months because the money is coming very slow. That is not going to cost the government anything. Anyway, the exporters will pay the interest to the bank. And the producer sector also asking for a short-term loan for about 8 days, for these auction teas. The prompt date is next 15th. For until that time, the producer is asking 8 days interest-free loan. So that's the only thing we have asked from the government. But we asked from the government to help in the sense to work. Because tea people can work. But what we want is to make facilities for us to work. We have not asked for any financial help from the government.
Mr. Karunaratne, being an exporter myself, I've been now in the industry for the last 3.5 years. What I have noticed most of the time is the fact that the tea industry, the stakeholders are divided on many issues, like the liberalization of the tea industry, even on the e-platform, people were divided, and that is why for 20 years we were not able to introduce the e-platform. And only after COVID-19 we were able to implement such a platform. What is your message to the industry as a whole, at large? What must they do to step in a situation like this?
This e-platform was, people have discussing for more than 20 years. But it came to a situation we had no option but to look for it. So that made us the way to go forward. So fortunately, we managed to introduce this to sell part of our tea today, and it is continuing tomorrow and day after. So what you said, the industry is divided. Yes, they are divided on the importation, but still we have no consensus about that. But this time it was proved that all were together. The exporters, the brokers, the plantation companies, the factory owners, smallholders, we were all together. Actually, I just finished a meeting with the 22 stakeholders of our CTJ committee. They all praised, that we are united. We are all fighting to continue with our business. So it's a good opportunity, good time. We all realize that we need each one of us. So we have to work together. If we don't work together, we can't go forward.
Mr. Karunaratne, united we stand tall. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Mr. Jayantha Karunaratne, Chairman of the Colombo Tea Traders Association, talking about the impact on COVID-19 as far as the tea industry, which is contributing to $1.5 billion to the country's economy, is concerned. When you are on your own, we are always with you. Stay connected, stay